Kike was a star student of Success Academy, an all-girls secondary school known for its high standards. At 15 years old, she stood out not only for her striking beauty, but also for her intelligence. She has always been at the top of her class, working hard to maintain her position as the most brilliant student. Every day, Kike would wake up early, put on her neat school uniform, and head to school with determination in her eyes. Her long black hair was always neatly tied in a beautiful ponytail, and her face glowed with natural beauty that required no makeup. As she walked through the school gates, heads would turn and whispers would follow. Beautiful Kike, the other girls would say, always perfect and always at her best. But Kike paid no attention to these comments. Her focus was solely on her studies in class. She sat at the front, eagerly absorbing every word the teacher said. Her hand was always the first to shoot up when a question was asked, and her answers were always correct. However, Kike's beauty was becoming a distraction. Even the teachers found themselves staring at her during lessons. Mr. Ade, the mathematics teacher, often stumbled over his words when explaining problems to Kike. Mr. Mba, the English teacher, couldn't help but admire Kike's graceful handwriting and thoughtful essays. Despite the attention, Kike remained unmindful. After school, while other students rushed home, Kike would stay back in the classroom. She'd pull out her books, spread them on her desk, and dive into her studies. One evening, as the sun was casting long shadows across the antique classroom, Kike was deeply engrossed in her literature textbook. She didn't notice when someone entered the room. Kike, you're still there? A voice called out. Kike looked up to see Tayo, one of her classmates, standing at the door. Oh, hi Tayo, Kike said with a smile. Yes, I'm just finishing up some extra reading. Tayo walked over to Kike's desk, her eyes scanning the piles of books. She shook her head and let out a small smile. Kike, Tayo said, if I was as beautiful as you, I wouldn't stress myself studying all the time. You could easily get favors from teachers who admire you. Kike's eyebrow furrowed in confusion. What do you mean? Tayo grinned mischievously. Haven't you noticed how the teachers look at you? Especially Mr. Ade and Mr. Mba. You could probably get good grades without all this extra work. Kike was shocked. She has never thought about using her looks for any advantage. But that wouldn't be right, she protested. Tayo shrugged. It's just a thought anyways. I'm heading home. Don't stay too late, okay? As Tayo left, Kike sat there, her mind swirling with this new idea.
She had always believed in hard work and honesty.
But was Tayo right? Could life be easier if she used her beauty to her advantage? With this thought weighing on her mind, Kike packed up her books and headed home. When Kike reached home, her parents greeted her with warm smiles. They were proud of their daughter's achievements and had always encouraged her studies. But tonight, Kike was distracted during dinner, her mind still pondering over Tayo's suggestion. In her room, instead of opening her books as she usually did, Kike stood in front of a mirror. She studied her reflection, noting her clear skin, bright eyes, and her long black hair. Had she been blind to the power she heard? As she lay in bed that night, Kike made a decision. Tomorrow, she would try something different. She would see if Tayo was right about the power of her beauty. Little did Kike know that this decision would set in motion a series of events that would change her life forever. The next morning, Kike woke up earlier than usual. She stood in front of her mirror, hesitating for a moment before reaching her makeup kit. With trembling hands, she applied a light layer of foundation, a touch of powder and a swipe of lip gloss. She let her hair down, allowing it to fall in soft waves around her shoulders. As Kike walked into the school compound, she could feel the difference immediately. More heads turned than usual, and the whispers seemed louder. Even some of the teachers did a double turn as she passed by. During Mr. Ade's maths class, Kike decided to put Tayo's theory to test. When the teacher handed out a maths quiz, Kike felt a moment of panic. She hadn't studied for this. But then she remembered Tayo's words. As Mr. Ade collected the paper, Kike looked up at him and smiled sweetly. Mr. Ade, she said softly, I hope I'll do well in the quiz. I really want to maintain my good grades in your class. Mr. Ade seemed ruffled. I'm sure you did fine, Kike. You are my best student after all. The next day, when Mr. Ade returned the graded quiz, Kike was surprised to see a perfect score on her paper. She knew she hadn't answered all the questions correctly. Could Tayo be right? Encouraged by this, Kike tried the same approach with other male teachers. A smile, a kind word, and suddenly she found herself getting good grades on tests she hasn't studied for. At first, it felt like a relief. She could finally get some rest instead of staying up all night studying. As the day passed, Kike found herself relying more and more on her looks. She studied less, confident that a seductive smile would be enough to maintain her top position. And for a while it worked. But Kike didn't notice the growing resentment among her classmates. Girls who had once admired her now whispered behind her back. They saw how the teachers favored her and how she seemed to breeze through this without the hard work they all put in. Tayo also watched all of this with a mixture of satisfaction and jealousy. She had set this plan in motion, but she hadn't expected Kike to be so successful at it. One afternoon, as Kike was leaving school, she overheard two of her teachers talking at the staff room. She paused at the door listening. Oh, have you noticed how Kike has been acting lately? It was Mr. Umba's voice. Yes, it's quite a change, replied Mr. Ade. She seemed to be using her beauty charm more. It's becoming a problem, oh, Mr. Umba said. The other students are starting to complain. They think we are showing favoritism. Well, can you blame us? Mr. Ade shackled. Have you seen Kike? Ah, she's such a beautiful young girl. But you are right. Maybe we can lure her to a hotel during the weekend. I really want to get down with that girl, now that we have her attention. Kike's heart raced as she hurried away from the door. For the first time, she felt a pang of guilt and fear. What had she gotten herself into? That night, Kike couldn't sleep. She turned and turned, thinking about what she had heard. The teachers were noticing her behavior. And worst of all, they seemed to expect something in return for their favors. This wasn't what she intended when she started this experiment. The next day at school, Kike felt uncomfortable under the gaze of her teachers. Every smile and compliment now seemed loaded with expectation. She realized that she had opened a door she didn't know how to close. During break time, Kike sought out for Tayo. She found her lounging under a tree in the schoolyard. Tayo, I need to talk to you, Kike said, her voice trembling. Tayo looked up, a sly smile on her face. What's up, beauty queen? Trust you're enjoying your new life. No, I think I've made a mistake. The male teachers, they are starting to want more than just smiles for the favors they are doing me, Kike said. What do you mean? Tayo asked. I overheard them talking, Kike explained. They are expecting something from me. I don't know what to do. This has gone too far. Tayo was quiet for a moment. Then she leaned in close. Listen, Kike, you've come this far. Don't back out now. If the teachers want more, give them what they want. And in fact, have you considered that it would also be additional money to your pocket? Kike screamed in shock. What? No, I can't do that. Why not? Tayo pressed. It's just a little further. There is no harm in doing that. Think about all the benefits you've been getting. Do you want to give up that? No, Tayo, this is wrong. I never should have started this. In fact, I'm stopping it immediately. Kike walked away angrily, but she didn't see the wicked look that crossed Tayo's face. She didn't know that her decision to stop would cost her more than she's willing to take. The next morning, Kike woke up, determined to set things right. She tied her hair back in her usual ponytail and went to school without any makeup. She was ready to face the consequences of her actions and return to her old ways of hard work and honesty. But as soon as she stepped into the school compound, she knew something was wrong. Students were gathered in small groups, whispering and pointing at her. Confused and worried, Kike made her way to her classroom. As she entered, her classmates stared at her with a mixture of disgust and pity. Kike's heart began to race. What was going on? It was Tayo who finally broke the silence. She stood up with a curious smile on her face. Kike, everyone now knows what you've been doing to get those good grades, sleeping with teachers. That's low, even for you. Kike's words seemed to crumble. That's not true, she cried out. I never did anything like that. But no one seemed to hear her. The rumor had spread like wildfire in the Harmattan. Just then, Mrs. Pejo, the school principal, appeared at the classroom door. Her face was thin and her voice cold as she said, Kike, come with me to my office immediately. Mrs. Pejo didn't mince words. Kike, I've heard some very disturbing rumors about your behavior with male teachers. This is a serious accusation. But it's not true, Kike pleaded. I never did anything like that. Yes, I tried to use my looks to get better grades. But I never went further than that, I swear, Mrs. Peju. Miss Peju's expression remained hard. True or not, the damage has been done. Parents have written threatening to withdraw their children. If you remain in this school, you alone cannot spoil market for me. Kike felt as if the floor had dropped out from under her. We have no choice than to expel you from Success Academy, Mrs. Peju said with a deep sigh. The words hit Kike like a physical blow. Expel? Her perfect record, her dreams of graduating at the top of her class, all gone in an instant as Kike left the principal's office, her words in shambles. She saw Tayo standing in the corridor, a triumphant smirk on her face. In that moment, Kike realized the extent of her friend's betrayal. The next few days passed in a blur of tears and arguments. Kike's parents were devastated by the news of her expulsion. They didn't believe the rumor, but they were angry and disappointed that Kike had tried to use her looks for academic gain. We raised you better than this, her father said, his voice heavy with disappointment. Kike's mother was more practical. We need to find you a new school, she said. I can't let you ruin your future like this. And so, after days of searching, as no private school around was willing to take her in, Kike's parents managed to enroll her in Orisun Comprehensive High School, a public school that was a far cry from the prestigious Success Academy. As Kike stood at the gate of Orisun Comprehensive High School on her first day, she felt like a different person. She took a deep breath and stepped into the school compound. Then she made a silent vow to herself. This was her second chance. A chance to prove that she was more than just a pretty face. A chance to show the world and herself that she could succeed on her own merits. Little did Kike know that her journey at Orisun Comprehensive High School would bring its own set of challenges and revelations. As Kike got to the assembly ground, she felt the teachers and students looking at her curiously. She heard some whispering. Kike knew they were wondering why she had left the Success Academy, a fancy private girls' school, to come to this public high school. That's her, the new girl. I heard she got kicked out of her old school. Look at her, acting all high and mighty. Kike kept her head high, trying to ignore the comments. She found a spot at the back of the assembly and stood quietly, waiting for the principal to speak. Mr. Agbabu, the principal of Orisun Comprehensive High School, was a middle-aged man with a stern face. He stepped onto the stage and cleared his throat loudly. Good morning, students, he began, his voice booming across the field. Today we have a new addition to our school. Kike, please come forward. Kike's heart raced as she made her way to the front. She could feel hundreds of eyes on her, judging her every move. This This is Kike, Mr. Agbabu says. She's joining us from Success Academy. I expect all of you to make her feel welcome. As Kike stood there, she could hear the murmurs grow louder. Success Academy was well known, and many were wondering why she had left such a prestigious school. After the assembly, Kike headed to her new classroom. She sat at a desk in the back, hoping to avoid attention. But as students filed in, many of them stared at her openly. A girl whose seat was next to Kike walked up to her. "Hi, I'm Joy," she said with a friendly smile. "You're the new girl from the fancy school." Kike nodded, relieved to find someone who seemed nice. "Yes, I'm Kike. It's nice to meet you." So lowering to a whisper, "Why did you leave your old school? It must have been something big to end up here." Kike felt her face grow hot. She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, another voice cut through the chatter of the classroom. "I bet I know why she left," he said loudly. "My neighbor who attends Success Academy says there was a huge scandal about a girl who was sleeping with teachers for grades. Bet that was you, wasn't it?" The classroom fell silent. All eyes turned to Kike, waiting for a response. She felt her hands begin to shake. "That's not true," Kike said, a voice stronger than she felt. "Those were just rumors. I never did anything like that." The boys coughed. "Sure, that's what they all say. Why else would you leave such a great school for this dump?" Joy looked at Kike with wide eyes. "Is that true?" Kike stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I said it's not true," she repeated firmly. "I'm here to study and learn, just like the rest of you. What happened at my old school is in the past." Just then, their class teacher walked in, ending the conversation. But Kike could still feel the stares and hear the whispers throughout the lesson. As the day went on, Kike found herself struggling to keep up with the lessons. The teaching style at Orison Comprehensive High School was different from what she was used to, and the resources were limited. In maths class, when the teacher asked a question, Kike raised her hand to answer just like she always had. "The new girl thinks she's smarter than all of us," a girl sitting nearby muttered. Kike slowly lowered her hand, feeling conflicted. She knew the answer, but was it more drawing more attention to herself? During lunch break, Kike sat alone under a tree close to the school field. She watched as a group of friends laugh and chatted. Feeling more alone than ever, Joy approached her carrying a snack box. "Mind if I join you?" she asked. Kike nodded, grateful for the company. As they sat, Joy spoke up. "Listen, about what that boy said in class. I'm sorry, it wasn't cool of him to spread rumors like that." Kike sighed. "Thank you, but it's just not true. Yes, I made some mistakes in my old school, but I never did anything that bad. I just want a fresh start." Joy nodded thoughtfully. "You've got one here. It might not be as fancy as your old school, but it isn't so bad once you get used to it." As they continued to chat, Kike felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe she could find her place here after all. Weeks passed, and Kike slowly began to adjust to life at Orison Comprehensive High School. She keeps her head down, focused on her studies, and tried to ignore the lingering whispers and stares. One day, Mr. Ayo, the English teacher, announced a writing competition. The winner, he said, his eyes scanning through the classroom, will represent our school at the state-level competition. It's a big opportunity, so I expect your best work. Kike's eyes lit up. This was a chance to prove herself, to show everyone that she was more than just rumors and gossip. As soon as she got home, Kike threw herself into writing. She spent hours crafting her story, pouring all her experiences and emotions into it. When she finally finished, she felt proud of what she had created. The day of the results arrived. Mr. Ayo stood in front of the class holding a stack of papers. I have read all your entries, he began, and I must say I am impressed. But one stood out above the rest. The winner is Kike. The classroom erupted in murmurs. Kike felt a mix of joy and anxiety as she walked to the front to receive her paper. Excellent work, Kike, Mr. Ayo said, smiling. Your story was truly exceptional. As Kike returned to her seat, she overheard a group of students whispering. Of course she won. Probably she has used her old trick to sham Mr. Ayo. I bet she didn't even write it herself. Kike felt her happiness deflate. Would she ever escape her past? Joy, who had become Kike's closest friend, noticed her distress. Don't listen to them, she whispered. You won fair and square. Your story was amazing. Despite Joy's support, Kike couldn't shake off the feeling of doubt. That night, she approached her parents. Mom, Dad, she said hesitantly, I won the writing competition at school. Her parents beamed with pride. That's wonderful, Kike, her mother exclaimed. But some students think I cheated. They don't believe I could have won on my own. Her father's face grew serious. Kike, we know you've been working hard to turn things around. Don't let anyone make you doubt yourself. Encouraged by her parents' words, Kike decided to confront the rumor head-on the next day at school. She approached Mr. Ayo after class. Sir, she said, her voice shaking slightly. I heard some students saying I might have cheated in the competition. I want you to know that I didn't. I wrote that story all by myself. Mr. Ayo looked at her with surprise. Kike, I never doubted that for a moment. Your writing has a unique voice that can't be faked. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Feeling strengthened by Mr. Ayo's words, Kike made a decision. She would prove to everyone once and for all that she was more than just a pretty face. As the state-level competition approached, Kike threw herself into preparation. She spent hours in the school library reading and researching. Her dedication didn't go unnoticed. One afternoon, as Kike was buried in a book, she heard someone cleared their throat. She looked up to see Ajua, one of the top students in her class, standing awkwardly by her table. Oh, Kike, she said hesitantly, I was wondering if you could help me with something. I'm struggling with the literature assignment, and I know you're really good at it. Kike was surprised. This was the first time someone other than Joy had approached her for help. Sure, she said smiling. What part are you having trouble with? As they worked together, Kike found herself enjoying the process of explaining and teaching. Word spread quickly and soon other students were seeking her help too. Joy watched this transformation with a grin. Look at you. I told you things would get better. Finally, the day of the state competition arrived. Kike was nervous when she found out that Success Academy was also in the final round. She would be competing against her old school. The competition was held in a big hall. There were many people watching. When it was the last turn, she took a deep breath and started reading her story. As she read, the room got very quiet. Everyone was listening closely. Kike's story was about a girl who made mistakes but learned from them. It was really her own story. When Kike finished, there was a moment of silence. Then everyone started clapping loudly. The judges took a long time to decide. Finally, they were ready to announce the winner. The winner of this year's state writing competition is Kike Owolabi from Orisun Comprehensive High School. The students from Orisun Comprehensive High School in the audience cheered loudly. Kike couldn't believe it. She had won. As Kike went to get her trophy, she saw her old teachers and classmates from Success Academy. This could have been Success Academy's victory if they hadn't expelled Kike. After the event, while everyone was preparing to leave the venue, Kike heard someone coming towards her. "Congratulations, Kike," the voice said. Kike looked up and saw Tayo walking towards her crying. "Kike, can you ever forgive me?" Tayo said. "I'm sorry for lying about you and telling everyone at school that you were sleeping with our male teachers." "You are sorry?" Kike said angrily. "You told a lie that got me kicked out of school." "I was jealous and I let it control me," Tayo said. "Please forgive me, Kike." "I will forgive you. If only you tell everyone at Success Academy the truth," Kike said. And then she walked away. Mr. Agbabu, who has been watching both girls, smiled widely. "Well done, Kike," he said. "You've made Orisun Comprehensive High School very proud." Back at Success Academy, Tayo went straight to the principal's office with tears in her eyes. "Mrs. Peju, I'm sorry I lied." She went further to speak the truth about what she had done. Mrs. Peju, the principal, was shocked. "Tayo, you almost ruined that girl's future with your lie. No, you'll be gravely punished for this, so it can serve as warning to others." Mr. Ade and Mr. Mba were equally sacked from Success Academy. Meanwhile, at Orisun Comprehensive High School, things changed a lot. People stopped whispering about Kike. Instead, they asked her for help with their studies. Kike's study group got bigger and bigger. She had finally found her place at Orisun High School. At the end of the school year, Mr. Agbabu called Kike to his office. "Kike," he said, "I am very proud of you. You've done well in your studies, and you've helped other students too. You are a great student, and Orisun Comprehensive High School is lucky to have you." Kike felt happy with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, sir," she said. "Orisun gave me a second chance, and I am grateful." As Kike left the office, she thought about everything that had happened. She came to Orisun Comprehensive High School feeling alone and scared. But now, she had good friends like Joy, and she had proven that she was smart and hardworking. Lessons from this story. Kike's initial success stemmed from her dedication to her studies, proving that consistent effort and integrity leads to true accomplishment. Also, Kike's decision to rely on her beauty for grades rather than her intellect ultimately resulted in the loss of her reputation and expulsion. This highlighting the danger of abandoning principles for shortcuts. Tayo's betrayal underscores the importance of discerning true friends from those who may have hidden agenda or seek personal gains at your expense. False accusation and spreading rumors can have devastating effect on a person's life, as it shows in how quickly Kike's image was tarnished by untrue stories. Despite Kike's mistakes, she found redemption through a second chance at Orisun Comprehensive High School, demonstrating that it's never too late to turn things around. Kike's determination to rebuild her reputation and prove her worth through hard work shows the importance of resilience and perseverance. Kike's journey also highlights that acknowledging and learning from one's error can lead to personal growth and a stronger moral foundation. Tayo's envy led her to orchestrate Kike's downfall, this demonstrating how jealousy can harm others and eventually backfire. Kike's triumph in the state competition, despite her challenges, shows that overcoming obstacles through hard work brings true fulfillment and recognition. Thank you all for watching. I hope you got a lesson or two. Stay tuned for more exciting story. Thank you.